day, everybody. This is our presentation on animal rights. Today, we'll be focusing on the cons of animal testing for Bioethics 475. My name is Rashan Gray.
Melissa Petty Freya.
Zanardi Fernando.
Sharon Joseph.
Mario Louis.
Helen Tudor.
And Jasmine Colley.
An introduction. So firstly, what is animal rights? So this is based on the belief that non-human animals have interests and rights similar or in some cases equal to those of humans. The three basic rights that most activists feel should be given to animals are life, individual liberty, and exemption from torture. Animal testing refers to experiments performed on non-human animals.
According to the United States Humane Society, approximately 25 million vertebrate animals are used for experimentation, research, and education each year. Do animals have actual rights? According to the Wildlife Law Program, all animals have the right to be free from exploitation, domination, and abuse of any kind inflicted by humans. Burrell, 2020.
So these are reasons why we would be for animal testing.
Is it enough to save animal lives when the cost is a human life placed in danger or lost? Reasons why I am with animal testing are the Lashler incident in 1933. More than a dozen women were blinded and one woman died from using a permanent mascara called Lashler. Lashler contained an untested chemical, and at that time there were no regulations to ensure the safety of the product. The untested chemical caused horrific blisters, abscesses, and ulcers on the face, eyelids, and eyes of Lashler users, and it led to blindness for some. In one case, the ulcer was so severe that a woman developed a bacterial infection and died. The second example, a few years after the Lashler incident, another tragedy involving untested products occurred. A drug company in Tennessee decided to develop a liquid form of sulfur drug that would appeal to children. This drug company took a well-tested sulfur drug, mixed it with a sweet-tasting liquor that children would like, and sold it as elixir. Unfortunately, the drug company did not test the safety of the elixir before putting it in the store shelves. The pleasant-tasting liquid in the elixir contained ethanol glycol, a sweet-tasting poison that is the main ingredient in antifreeze. Ethanol glycol poisoning causes the kidney to fail so that the toxins and fluid are not excreted from the body. Eventually, the amount of toxin builds up is so great that it overwhelms the body and causes death. The elixir killed 107 people, mainly children, before it was pulled from the shelves. Even though scientists minimize the number of animals used by testing drugs in cell culture whenever possible, it is still important to test drugs in animals. For example, the first antibacterial agent, Protosil, has no effect on bacteria in culture, but when Prontosil is given to a mouse, it is broken down by the liver into the antibacterial drug sulfonamide. Before discovery of the antibacterial agent, many bacterial infections such as pneumonia were fatal.
Another reason why is that animal testing saves human lives in research. Animal testing evaluates the danger of drugs before being used upon humans, which will greatly reduce the risk before any human-based trials are carried out. Martha?
Animals themselves benefit from the results of animal testing, veterinary medicine, vaccine, pets, endangered species. For example, vaccine tested on animals have saved millions of animals that would otherwise die from diseases such as rabies, distemperament, feline, leukemia, hepatitis virus, tetanus, and anthrax. Animal testing also helps animals. It has resulted in many remarkable life-saving and life-extended longer, happier, and healthier lifespan. The ability to promote breeding has improved the health and survival of many species.
Okay, so our opinion-based standpoint. It says God has given humanity dominion over animals and to use them to their full potential. In Genesis chapter 1, verses 26, we find where it states that, and God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. Humanity was granted authority over everything created on earth by God. God placed the fear of man and animals so that they can fill the needs of men. Animal testing allows humans to have a safer passageway with taking medications, using cosmetics, as well as consuming foods after being tested on a species of lower moral status.
So one ethical view is Cohen's view, and his view is that animals do not have moral rights. A right, as we said, is a claim or potential claim that one party can exercise against another. Rights arise and can be defended only by beings who actually can make moral claims against one another, which animals cannot. Therefore, animals cannot have moral rights.
The second ethical view is speciesism. Non-human animals have a lesser moral right than human animals. So in speciesism, there's a clear difference between humans and any other species. This obvious difference affects their moral status, in which it is higher than non-humans. Humans are held at a higher moral status because they are more self-aware and have more control of choosing their course of action than non-human animals. It is therefore biologically natural to treat one's own kind more favorable.
The harms and costs from animal experimentation outweighs the potential benefits. Additionally, even after success in animals, around 172 and 150 drug-related failures have been identified in the treatment of humans. Snyder, 2014. The right and wrongs about treatment towards animals being experimented on must be considered. There is a level of suffering, and the benefits to humanity do not provide moral justification.
Another reason against animal testing is because it is cruel and inhumane. Animals do have rights, emotions, and feelings. To use and abuse animals as means to end. Some might argue that animals are not equivalent to humans. So if this is true, then it contradicts the need to be testing subjects such as animals, because there is no equivalency. How then can we apply and make animals research on humans? Some people arbitrarily would say that animals have no rights because they cannot be rational. Human infants or vegetables are also irrational creatures. If an irrational infant is to be treated as a mean and not simply an end, argue the same for animals. Therefore, they should not be simply used as test subjects. If speciesism is okay, then it can also be argued that The Tuskegee experiment is also okay because minorities then were not deemed as equal to other humans. Also, another reason why we are against animal testing is because they are cheaper and less cruel alternatives to create drugs and medicines for human usage. According to Willett 2019, advances in biological understanding as well as in experimental technologies, for example, cell culture and reconstructed tissues, they are both allow the consideration of dramatically different approaches to chemical safety assessments and those traditionally practiced, such as animal testing. Increasingly, combinations of non-testing and non-animal test methods are replacing animal tests even now today.
Animal testing cannot be trusted in determining long-term effects. In 2004, the FDA estimated that 92% of drugs that passed preclinical tests, including pivotal animal tests, failed to proceed to the market after 2015. Pythagoreans long ago believed that animals experience the same range of emotions as humans, post 1998. So therefore, the lives of thousands of animals are being sacrificed and the animals are suffering. The human lifespan and the animal lifespans are different. Humans can live up to 60 to 70 years, whereas animals such as rats live between 2 to 3 years. This makes it difficult to determine the effects that the drug will have on the human life cycle.
The group position. Alternately, we have chosen the con side, which is against animal testing, and this is why. Most animals' lives are wasted. Given account for past failed experiments and testing factors that severely damage animals, a huge amount of animal lives is wasted around the world each year, especially to non-profitable manufacturers that distribute non-essential goods such as cosmetics, fragrance sprays, body ointments, lotions, and the likes. Animals are killed or suffer tremendously during the test and similarly go through the same path even after they have survived the experiment. In the United States alone, over 1 million animals are killed each year for experimental purposes. Most used animals include mice, rats, frogs, dogs, cats, rabbits, hamsters, guinea pigs, monkeys, fish, and birds. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service, animal testing facts and statistics for the year 2018. Thousands of animals lost their lives on experimental basis. Records revealed that animals held but not used for regulated activities accounted for 122,717 deaths. Activities that did not involve pain and did not administer pain-relieving drugs accounted for 471,037 deaths. Activities involving pain and administered pain-relieving drugs accounted for 253,002 deaths. Activities involving pain or distress and for which administering pain-relieving drugs would adversely affect results accounted for 56,030 deaths. And animals used in regulated activities summed up to 780,070 animal deaths. Thus, in the US alone, a total of 1,682,857 animals died as a result of experiments in the year 2018. Regardless of the billions of animals killed each year in laboratories worldwide, most countries have no regulatory measures in place to protect animals from suffering, even when non-animal approaches can be used. USDA 2020. Secondly, the development of new diseases occur from animal testing. Not only does using animals for experimental purposes affect them, but it can also affect humans. If there is any inappropriate or accidental cross-contaminant of animal testing, there can be more harm instead of good. Because viruses can escape from testing centers or labs, it can lead to an epidemic and in extreme cases, a pandemic. According to virologist David Sanders from the Purdue University, lab accidents have released viruses in the past. One in 1977, which led to an outbreak of the influenza virus, and another in 2014 when the Ebola virus leaked from the same lab in Siberia. Similarly, today, as we are faced with a global pandemic, though unsure about its origin, scientists cannot completely dismiss the possibility that it may have escaped from laboratories in China, specifically Wuhan, concluding that different parts of China are inhabited by bats known to have genetically similar coronaviruses. Flam 2020.
Another reason why we are opposed to animal testing is that there are other alternatives to animal testing. According to PETA, which stands for People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, there is a variety of cell-based tests and tissue models that can be used to assess the safety of drugs, chemicals, cosmetics, and consumer products. Another reason why is that animal testing is not always accurate. One horrific example is of an arthritis drug called Vioxx, which caused over 140,000 heart attacks and strokes in the United States of America. And this drug had to be withdrawn from the global market, even though it appeared to be safe when it was tested in animals.
Lastly, we simply oppose animal testing because it can cause emotional harm to humans, such as distress and sadness, especially those of animal lovers. And these are our references.